Okay, so today we're diving deep into something really special. We're pulling back the curtain on a massive new fantasy epic, a story that spans generations and begins not with a war or a prophecy, but with the tears of a lonely goddess. Get ready, this is Quway Tears.
Right from the very first line, you know the scale we're dealing with here is just huge. We're going all the way back to the beginning. This isn't a story that starts with a map of a kingdom. No, it starts with the myth of the entire world.
And the heart of that myth, the very core of it all, is the creator goddess Quway. And the premise here is so unique, so cool. She doesn't sculpt the world or sing it into existence. She's so overcome with loneliness that she literally weeps it and all its people into being. Now, the thing about Quway is she isn't some all-knowing, perfect deity. Not at all. She's young, she's flawed, she's actually pretty relatable. Her emotions aren't just feelings, they have real, tangible, world-altering consequences. If she's happy, beautiful things are born. But if she's feeling bitter, well, that's where things like hobgoblins and vine cats come from. Her heart is literally the blueprint for this entire world.
And this warning from her father, the ancient dragon god Draco, basically sets up the central theme for the whole saga. It's all about creation and consequence. Quway's own personal journey to heal her own heart is directly tied to the fate of the world she made. I mean, the stakes just could not be higher.
So, you might be asking, how does this giant, divine creation myth turn into a human story? Well, the epic zooms in, focusing on three sisters. They're princesses of the Akudrian kingdom, and they are the absolute center of this generational tale.
First up, you've got Rey, the firstborn, the heir. Her hair is like fire, and honestly, so is her personality. She really embodies that strength and duty you'd expect from a future queen, and you can feel her carrying the weight of the kingdom on her shoulders, even from a young age.
Next is the second daughter, Estella. She's described as fair and sturdy, and that's perfect. She's the warrior of the family, with this fierce resilience that you just know is going to be tested. She often has to find her own purpose in the shadow of her big sister's destiny. And finally, there's Jane, the youngest. She was born in the quiet of a silver dawn, and she's the curious dreamer of the three. It's this gentle, almost fragile nature that makes her fate so tragic because she's the one who receives the most powerful and therefore the most dangerous gift of all. So on their coming-of-age day, Quway herself bestows these pendants on them. Think of them as fate gifts, meant to guide their lives. Rey gets the Pegasus, symbolizing her duty. Estella gets the Urakish eagle for her strength. But Jane is given the Dragon of Draco, marking her with a destiny tied to the oldest, most powerful magic in the world. And believe me, these aren't just pretty necklaces. They are roadmaps for the paths laid out before them. This little piece of wisdom comes from their mother, Queen Valerie, and it really gets to the core of the entire story. It poses that huge question. Are these sisters just puppets of the fates Quway gave them, or do their own choices, the very shape of their own hearts, ultimately decide who they become? That's a theme with so much potential for discussion. Of course, no epic is complete without a really good villain, a powerful threat, and the tone definitely shifts here, because that incredible dragon magic brewing inside little Jane, yeah, it does not go unnoticed.
Let's meet our antagonists, Pyr and Julios. Pyr is this incredibly ambitious sorceress who craves that Draco magic for herself. She's driven by a pure, raw lust for power and control. Her husband, Julios, is a bit more complicated. He's bound to her by love, by obedience, even as you can see him questioning her dark, dark methods. This dynamic makes them so compelling and so very dangerous.
And just listen to this. This chilling quote from Pyr lays their whole plan bare. It's not just about stealing power, it's about possession. They plan to kidnap Princess Jane, who's only 5 years old, sever her from her family, and corrupt her, basically weaponizing her magic for their own terrifying goals. This single act is the catalyst that kicks the whole epic saga into motion. Okay, so let's zoom back out for a second and look at the rich tapestry of this world. Because the fight over Jane's magic, as central as it is just one thread in a much larger story that spans generations. Any fantasy reader is gonna love this. So it's really important to understand the magic system at the heart of all this. Draco. We're not talking about simple spellcasting here. This is a primal force of creation, of transformation. It's carried in the bloodline, which makes it both this incredible divine gift and a constant dangerous target.
And this world is absolutely teeming with life. A lot of it born directly from Quway's complex emotions. You have trumpeters, these mischievous little beings tied to luck and fate. You have shadow beasts, literally born from greed itself. Even the sprites and hobgoblins are the result of her stray tears. And when you add in a rival warrior kingdom, Dabarikai, you get a world that just feels vast, alive, and full of stories waiting to be told.
The sheer scope of this story is just wow. It's not just one adventure, it's a true saga. We start with the princesses when they're kids, but then the narrative jumps forward 20 years to a whole new generation. We actually get to see how the choices made in the beginning ripple through the decades, exploring these amazing themes of legacy and the long, long shadow of the past.
So, what does it all add up to? Let's bring everything together and look at the deeper ideas that make this story more than just an exciting adventure, but something truly meaningful.
The story is built on this foundation of powerful, really discussable themes. You've got the tension between creation and consequence. You have that timeless question of fate versus free will. There's a deep dive into the nature of power and this moving, powerful look at family and legacy. These are the kinds of elements that give an epic, real literary depth.
And after all the magic, all the battles, all the heartbreak, this is the profound message that really rises to the surface. It suggests that despite all the forces of fate and the endless march of generations, the one true constant, the one thing that can actually shape a destiny, is love.
And that brings us to our final provocative question. It circles us all the way back to the beginning, back to a flawed goddess and her emotional creation, back to three young sisters and their interwoven destinies. It really leaves us to wonder about the future of a world that was literally built on feeling. And that's a thought that's going to stay with you long after you've turned the final page.